Well, we are still seeing the effects from the last storm system to roll through the Bay Area this week. I'm joined by KPIX's Wilson Walker, who shot some spectacular video from the North Bay. Now, Wilson, first explain what your assignment was and then take us through some of your amazing shots.
Well, the assignment basically was to go see what this latest round of rain would mean for Marin's water supply. So we headed out there, and since the last atmospheric river, I've been dying to get out to Alpine Lake to see what that storm meant for Marin's water supply, but you cannot get to Alpine Dam right now because of a slide. Bolinas Fairfax Road is actually closed in a couple directions.
Wow.
Alpine Dam unreachable by car, but you can get there by foot. So we threw the running shoes on yesterday, ran out to the dam to give everybody a look at what it looks like. And as you might have suspected, that lake is effectively full. I am told that the night before I got out there, it had already reached 97% capacity, which is really incredible considering how low those reservoirs had gotten. And we can even show you a little before and after. We were out there in late spring, early summer, and you know that signature drought imagery where the water peels back and you get the sort of rocky beaches along the side of the reservoirs. Those are all gone.
That's so amazing.
Those have all been recovered. All the sort of dried out branches of the lake have all been refilled.
Yeah.
But the real story, the real spectacle is what is filling that lake. And it is the Cataract Trail turned waterfall. It's just amazing. The place is roaring with sort of one sequence of falls after the other. You know, I'm sure some old timers who know Marin better than I can maybe know what it's like when that place really gets going, whether or not that trail gets washed out. But it is amazing the amount of runoff that is moving through there right there. And there's actually some parts of the trail that you have to sort of slosh through. But we talk about how Marin is so lucky in that it can refill its reservoirs quickly when it gets a lot of rain. And that Marin just has the geography, the catchment off Tam, can produce these incredible waterfall accumulations. And just like that, there's an old sort of phrase in Marin that, a couple good storms and it refills those reservoirs. This winter has already proven that, and we're in the second week of November. It's amazing.
It makes me so happy to hear this. I'm sure it was so happy for you to be out there, to actually see it. What struck you the most when you were out there?
The lack of people. It was rainy and wet, and kind of just one of those days out there. But we've spent so many months looking at that place and sort of watching the drought take its toll. To watch it just sort of explode back to life is incredible. And Marin is fortunate where they can dig themselves out of a drought really quickly. And there's plenty of other places in California where it's going to take a lot more rain, a lot more time, maybe years to sort of undo the accumulated effects of this drought. But Marin can turn it around that quickly.
That's amazing.
And we've seen it.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the North Bay because, as you know, the North Bay, really the big winners with our rainfall this water year. We had, of course, that atmospheric river, that historic atmospheric river last month. We just had this latest one. So I want to talk about the rainfall amounts that we picked up just this week. So for the North Bay, you're really lucky with that rainfall, more than 2 to 4.5 inches of rain. We're talking about Tam, Occidental, Mill Valley, around the Bay, San Francisco, Berkeley, more than an inch. And of course, the South Bay with that rain shadowing, not so much, just a few hundredths of an inch of rain. But really the North Bay, I mean, this was just a weak to moderate atmospheric river that we had just recently compared to the historic one that we had last month. And, as meteorologists, we're in the Weather Center, we're tracking these storms, the atmospheric rivers, and, we're getting the stats, the numbers. But for you to be out there and to see that difference must be incredible.
Well, we heard a lot going into and out of the first atmospheric river about how the ground needed to be recharged, and there needed to be enough hydration of the ground so that you can accumulate the subsequent rainfall that we've gotten. I would say the second storm is the perfect example of that. Bolinas, we can show you Bolinas. Bolinas, unique unto itself little community in North Bay here. They have a water system that comes entirely off of one creek. They have two tiny little reservoirs that come from that creek. They were facing some real severe rationing measures had the situation not turned around. They have refilled both of their reservoirs. The creek is running really well. So Bolinas itself is sort of pulled out. And there are other reservoirs out in Marin that will take longer. Nicasio and Sulahili, sort of wider catchment areas, and take longer to refill. But if you were imagining what a good winter would look like in Marin, to have the bulk of your water system effectively recharged by the second week of November. It would kind of be best case scenario.
Yeah, I just love that perspective. I mean, you were out there, you saw, just how bad it was. I mean, last year, we remember our water year, I mean, it was dismal. We just had hardly any storms at all. And then to start off the water year is so great.
I want to say that Bolinas has had like 9 inches of rain so far this year. And I think at this point last year, they'd had 0. So the night and day difference between now and last year is incredible. Of course, it has to continue.
Yeah.
I've been told that if you go for a month without good rain, you start to lose the ground saturation that you have been lucky enough to get.
And the effects of that, yeah, for sure. I want to talk about our water year because we are off to a great start. So our rainfall versus average, picking up more than 2 to 13.5 inches of rain for the Bay Area. That's 275 to 550% of average. That is so great to see. Now in San Francisco, it's the all-time wettest start to the water year. And in Santa Rosa and Livermore, rainfall since October 1st equals all of the rainfall that we saw last season. I mean, that is just thinking about that. We have had, 2 atmospheric rivers. We have had storm after storm. And what we really need, as we were talking about, is you have a storm, you have a break, you have another storm. And so far, that's what we're seeing. So it's really encouraging news.
And remember, most of the parts of Northern California get the bulk of their rain in the early months of the year. And so everything we're getting now is just sort of this this banking that you're doing, and everything else really gets to add up. I remember that the first storm, one of the folks at the Sonoma Water Agency said, this sets us up for success. And so more rain, more success.
So happy to hear. All right. Thank you so much, Wilson, for sharing your perspective and your incredible video, your thoughts out there. It was so great to see that. And hopefully we're going to see more storms as we head through the season. Thank you so much.